Hey loves, so now here coming at you with another video real quick, and in this video I want to show you guys microlinks. Part one of a series that I'm gonna give you guys on microlinks and how you should and should not use microlinks, who should use microlinks, who shouldn't use microlinks, the proper way to take them out, and the history of them, because a lot of people think that microlinks, tape-ins and things like that are new, and they're not new. They're over 2 decades old. So in this video you guys are going to watch me do microlink extensions and for my clients as we're transitioning out of hair extensions. If you're used to wearing weaves repeatedly, like getting it taken out and then putting them right back in, it's like shocking when you see yourself in the mirror and you're used to having 4 or 5 bundles in your head. Beaded installations are a very good way to slowly but surely wean your clients off of hair extensions. So, and that is enough talking for now. I promise. Let's go ahead and get into this video.
So this was a regular client of mine that suffered from scalp and skin psoriasis. She had it all over her entire body, so it wasn't just on her scalp. Okay, she had severe psoriasis, period, all over the body. If you want to know more about psoriasis and different hair shaft and scalp disorders, click the link in the description box below and check out some of those playlists, right? But right now we are in a recovery process, because when she started coming to me, not only does she suffer from psoriasis, but she had also just given birth. So it was a double whammy, dealing with psoriasis her whole life and just having a baby. It really led to her hair thinning out. Now this video is from 2018. The product line that you are now seeing on the screen is, I don't have that anymore, you guys. I'll leave all of my recommendations in the description box below, and here on the screen. Nothing bad happened. I'm just in a new phase of my life, guys, so ignore that. Okay. So right now she is getting microlink extensions, and most people would say, oh, if she has psoriasis, wouldn't you not want to do any type of extensions? No, there's a difference between hair extensions and a weave, and the thing that we don't want her to have as much is a weave. And when she first started coming to me, she was coming to me for weaves, right? And with her having psoriasis, it's something that I did not want her to have on a regular basis. So we would go from her weaves and extensions to her natural hair. And right now is the process of her becoming more comfortable with wearing her natural hair. As we talked about at the beginning of this video, most of the time whenever you wear hair extensions for long periods of time, whether that's a weave or I should say hair extensions, whenever you wear insoles for long periods of time, then you're not used to seeing your natural hair. So a really good way to wean yourself off of that is by getting microlinks, right? And microlinks or different things like fusion or I-tip extensions were a great option for my client. Nowadays people are getting microlinks and tape-ins and things of that nature, and a lot of people think that they're new, and they're really not. There's so many different ways to use microlinks. There's so many different ways to install them. Some people do them the way that I'm doing it, with needle and thread. Some install the natural hair along with the hair extensions inside of the weft and interlock them like that. I'm not saying that anybody's technique is better than anybody's, because it is a technique and all of them are amazing. The thing that makes hair extensions unsafe or that makes them damaging is when you get the wrong type of hair extensions. Most of the time when you go into a hair salon that is like really serious about the science of hair and the integrity of their client's hair, you would get a consultation before getting your hair extensions. The consultation it serves multiple purposes: for us to become familiar with each other, to get to know each other more, and also for me to become familiar with you, for me to check your porosity, for me to learn more things about you, to know what different installs are best for you. And so from being a person who suffers from telogen effluvium from having a baby, and when you have telogen effluvium is when the body experiences any type of stress. And I'm sorry, I can't think of anything more stressful than childbirth, right? And so when the body goes through certain forms of stress, then it sends the follicle into telogen effluvium, where the hair is not falling out, it's not growing, it's just resting. And because the hair follicle and the actual hair shaft, the new bulb, is resting within the follicle, it appears like your hair is thinning or balding, but in reality, the new hair that's supposed to be coming out to replace the one that fell out through the estrogen phase of your hair growth cycle is not coming out, so it looks like your hair is bald, right? So the last thing that I want to do is cut off your oxygen supply. So this is why, even though we would do weaves all the time, I said, okay, sometimes I want us to try microlink extensions, because it still gives you the versatility, and then it's also going to allow you to become more familiar with your natural hairline. Because when I say she was one of my favorite clients, oh my God, one of my favorite clients, but everybody still has their habits, right? I can only do so much, and I'm not with my clients on a regular basis. And remember, she had psoriasis all over her entire body. So it wasn't like, oh, well, she used this on her scalp, so this is what caused her inflammation, and if she just listened to sand, then everything will be okay. No, at this point, I was not an herbalist yet, and so I didn't really understand what I can do to help her internally. I was only able to treat her from the external, and I still did a great job at that, but this is what we did externally. Internally, she still had a lot of changes to make. So most of the time, even though I would fix and repair things, when we would come back, we would still kind of have the same, not the same issue, but it would still be a little hurdle. It was never 100% over. But I don't mean that in a negative way, because this is one of the clients that listened to me. Everything I said, everything I told her to do. But again, psoriasis, you have people that only have scalp psoriasis, but then you have people that have it all over the body. And she's a person who has it all over the whole body. So hers was not a scalp issue or a pattern issue. It was a gut issue. All right, I hope that makes sense. And if you want to learn more about gut issues and things of that nature, then make sure you check the links in the description box below. But we went ahead and put these micro wefts in. Now, the reason that I don't agree with everybody getting tape-ins, I'm not saying that if you go to a professional and get tape-ins that it's bad. I'm not saying that. If you go to a professional to get them installed and for regular maintenance, then okay. There are some people who they will not touch their own hair unless a professional does them. If you are one of those people, get tape-ins. If you are not, I do not recommend them, because tape-in extensions are heat activated, and to install tape-in extensions or any form of extensions, like you can see with her hand, I have to put them as close to the root as possible. And if you're a person with naturally curly hair, if you're wearing your hair straight or even blown out, what's the most important part to blend? The root. That's the first place that you're going and the place that you're focusing most of your attention on. So over time, it begins to weaken the hair shaft, and over time, it begins to break down. A lot of people who are swearing by tape-in hair extensions have only been doing those tape-in hair extensions for maybe the last 2 to 3 years tops, right? But hair weathering takes anywhere between 6 months to 25 years to show up. So you'll be having these tape-ins and everything will be okay for years, and then one day your hair just starts breaking down. This is something that you have to be aware of, and that's for every form of hair extensions, including the one that I'm doing on her hair right now. As I explained at the beginning of this video, this is something to transition my client out of wearing hair extensions all the time so she could become more familiar with her own hair. Or clients that would get these forms of extensions would be women who had issues like I have. For example, I have a very, very high sebum level, right? So women who have a very high sebum level, meaning their body produces a lot of natural oil, and you could get your hair done on Monday and by Friday your hair is an oily mess, right? This is a form of extensions that I would give my clients with a very high sebum level, because when they begin to produce all of that sebum, that begins to weigh their hair down. When they have extensions in their hair, the extensions end up helping to absorb some of that oil, and then they can use a dry shampoo like Olaplex or any dry shampoo. I'm going to leave some suggestions in the description box, but you can use dry shampoo to begin to absorb some of that oil. And then instead of washing your hair every week, you can get away with washing your hair every 2 weeks. So that is another reason that you do extensions versus a sew-in, because they're very different. Another reason, if you have the second issue that I have, which is a very active sweat gland, meaning you get your hair straightened and then before you get to sleep that night, you sweated out your hair because you sweat a lot in your scalp, or you sweat in your sleep, and when you get up, your hair is soaked, and like not necessarily soaking wet, but you've been sweating enough to the point where your hair that was straightened is no longer straight. Well, this is another form of hair extensions that combat that, right? So even though no, you won't be able to stop your body from sweating, it doesn't work like that, because again, holistically, that's an internal problem. That's why I make the videos that I make about herbs that you can use to help with those things. So check the link in the description box. You will have that versatility. So look at the versatility that she has in her hair. Micro links, y'all. And these form of extensions are not new, baby. We've been doing these for a long time. But it gives her a whole lot of flexibility. She can still have hair extensions. You can still have hair extensions and sweat in your scalp, but then the hair extensions, I know it sounds gross, will help to absorb some of that sweat, and then you can do the same exact thing with the dry shampoo. Hit your hair with a blow dryer and a round brush really quick and keep it moving. And this is why this form of extensions were for my clients that had that type of scalp profile. And I talk about my 7-day challenge all the time because it's the truth. I'm going to vlog about it, or include a whole bunch more reviews and stuff in my next vlog. But you guys, it is so simplistic, right? When you really learn your scalp's profile, then you can decide what style is best for you. But the issue now is everybody is looking on YouTube, and you look at whoever has the most views on a video, and then everybody follows that person. But no, you need to find somebody who matches your scalp's profile. So instead of just looking on YouTube for the person with the highest view count, no, learn your scalp's profile. What is your porosity? What is your sebum level? When is your skin cell turnover week? And all of these different things. Do you have a really oily scalp? Do you have a really dry scalp, right? Do you have a really, really, really sweaty scalp? Find people who match your scalp's profile, right? And then take those suggestions. But their hair and hair care is not one size fits all. Everybody's not a candidate for a weave. Some of my clients were only candidates for hair extensions, because there's a difference, right? Hair extensions and weaves are different. The actual sew-in weave was created by a woman in like the early, like I want to say in like either 1951 or 1961. Check the link in the description box below because I gave you her name and I went into detail in that video. But there's a difference between weaves and hair extensions. And if you are a person who is getting hair extensions is not something for like a person who wants to go like the lazy route with their hair. If you get hair extensions, you need to be a person who is like true to it. You need to say, okay, I wash my hair every 2 weeks. On this day, I'm sticking to it. Whether you're going to a hairstylist or whether you're doing it on your own, is up to you, right? It's up to you. It's your head. Baby, I need you to know enough about you to be able to do your hair just as good as a professional could. You're supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to. It's not a bad thing. A good hairstylist wants you to be able to do your own hair. So at this point, now that she has these hair extensions, and now whether she has a high sebum level, I vividly remember she had a high sebum level, but no matter what, she's able to combat that, right? Her hair is free, her scalp is able to breathe, it's not weighed down and blocked, and now we can keep products off of her scalp, and now we are able to begin to reset her natural hair growth cycle. At the time, again, I didn't have the 7-day challenge, but my clients knew what they had to do to increase their density. And we're gonna do a little fast forward update for y'all. But I remember vividly because everybody had the same type of regimen, but she will only keep these in for a month, and I would see her every 2 weeks, and then we would take them out and she would have a moment of rest where she would wear her natural hair, right? And we would do like flexi rod sets and things like that, perm rod sets on her hair. And then when she came back in 2 weeks, then we would put the extensions back in, and we did that for a while until her density began to increase. Now the psoriasis didn't go away, so there was nothing that I could do about that, right? There was nothing that I could do about the psoriasis. Again, y'all, all of the stuff that y'all seeing on the screen, all that stuff is closed, okay? It's all closed. But this is how it ended up coming out, and I love microlink extensions because to me they don't look like hair extensions. Not that it's a problem, but it still allowed my clients to become familiar with the way that their hair looked. Now, when she first came to me, she was transitioning out of a relaxer, and we did not big chop and cut all of her relaxer off or anything like that. So I do want you to pay attention to the difference in her density, because at this point we're not putting in extensions, right? This is not a full year later. That was the beginning video was late 2018, and this is the beginning of 2019, right before I quit. So yeah, around there. So at this point, I'm just putting leave-in conditioner in her hair. As you can see, Kimber is all in the background. I don't just randomly recommend stuff to y'all just because I'm being extra. No, I've been using Kimber my entire career, 15 years, and they've never changed their formulation. Like, it's literally been the same the whole time. It like blows my mind every time. But anywho, we are now combing through her hair. I vividly remember she has high porosity hair. Look at my comb. There's no hair on my comb, and there's a difference between combing and detangling. You do not detangle wet hair. Detangling is removing knots, mats, and tangles. We're not removing matting and tangling. I'm simply combing the product through her hair, and when you have high porosity hair and the cuticles are lifted, the hair has the tendency of, kind of hugging a little bit. It's not locked together, it's just hugging. So you're just breaking up the hug. I want you to remember that the average person has 100,000 follicles on their scalp. and each follicle has anywhere between 1 to 4 strands. That means you have 100,000 to 400,000 strands on your head. So when you put a product in your hair, you have to comb it through. People are really afraid of heat damage, but when you get heat damage is when you use the wrong product. For example, if you put any type of oil on your hair whatsoever to straighten it, that is why you have heat damage. You are not supposed to. Okay, you have to think about it. When you put that flat iron on your hair, right, it's already hot. But think about what happens when you add oil to a pan. Before you add the oil to the pan is already hot. But then once you add additional oil and additional things to the pan, you begin to increase the temperature of the contents within the skillet. It's the same thing with your hair. You're not supposed to use oil to straighten your hair. The molecular weight is too vast. So you only straighten your hair with a heat protectant that is a polymer base that will coat the hair shaft a little bit so that the hair is not able to absorb and hold on and cook with the moisture. It pulls it in and releases it really fast. Make sure you check the link in the description box below. I did a full 2-hour lecture on polymers, right? So go watch that and it'll explain it a little more. It's kind of hard for me to break it down right now. I'm sipping a little tea really quick. So as you can see, I am round brushing her hair. We are not getting any type of breakage or anything, and I was always so proud of her hair because it was getting so thick and so full, right? But again, the psoriasis that she had was all over her body. I remember sometimes it would be in between her fingers, the folds of her arms. So it wasn't just, and she even had some spots on her face, so it wasn't just in her scalp. So even though yes, we would get new growth and she would get certain parts around her edges to thicken up, whenever you have a psoriasis outbreak, it affects the follicle directly. So whatever hair we grew, we lost it right away. But again, it's not something that she was super pressed about. It's actually not something that she ever brought up. It's not something that she ever talked about. I'm only bringing it up because I know that people are going to ask questions about it, but she never asked me to cover it. She never was, she didn't have any, what word am I looking for? She wasn't embarrassed about it. She had no qualms about it. She wasn't trying to cover it up. It didn't make her, that's the word I'm looking for. She wasn't self-conscious about her edges in any way, shape, or form. I just would see the outbreaks that she would get from psoriasis, and I would want to really, really tackle it. But this was around the time that I was really making those decisions. In the video that I posted yesterday, I was like, okay, that video was the one when I said, okay, I'm done. I didn't mean, oh, the person or the people who were talking about me online made me leave. It was no, in my mind, I said, I want my focus to be helping my clients to repair their bodies from the inside out, because I'm doing all of these things internally, but then they come back in a year. I'm working with them for 2-3 years. I'm able to thicken up everything else. I'm able to make changes everywhere else. But then when it comes to their hairline or different things within their body, I'm okay, it's working against me. So that's just the way my mind works. I'm big on problem solving. So that's what made me fall in love with herbalism and researching, and what made me really, really fall in love with the scientific field and go back to school and really, really dive in and study, right? It was for me, not for other people. And that's why now I come back to show you guys my old content, to give you a visual representation of the things that I teach in other videos, right? Because I understand sometimes we have visual learners. Some people only learn visually. Some people only learn with their hands. Like, I'm one of those people, right? I need to touch it. I need to touch it and do it myself, and then I can apply the things that I've also learned. But I that's the type of person I am, right? And so at this point, right, I didn't understand what I'm doing to her scalp right now. I'm like, it's cringeworthy for me to see myself do it now. But at this time, at this point in my career, I truly did not understand. And then when I went to school, once I left the hair industry, and my teacher was telling me like Miss Smith, no, that makes it worse. You removing the dead skin that's overproducing itself like that and creating abrasions, it just sends a stress signal to the hair's follicle, like, oh no, something's wrong, right? The scraping is the worst thing you can do. So the things that I tell you, the things that I say no, don't do, listen. When I say that I've been in the industry for 15 years, it's not because I'm trying to say I'm smart and you're dumb and you just started, you're a little youngin'. No, that's not where I'm coming from. I'm telling you that all of the things that you guys are finding that you think are new or old, and I made those mistakes too. So when you learn, and when you really sit down and you learn the science of the human body, you'll find why just getting a comb, scraping dead skin, and then putting oil on the scalp is not enough. And then you'll be able to see why. I'll show you guys in my next video. I'm just being transparent. I really don't feel like putting all that on the screen right now, so I'll show y'all in the next video. But that's why within the 7-day challenge, they're like, oh my freaking god, it's been less than a couple of weeks and I've just stopped doing XYZ, and now bald spots that I've had for years are coming in. I'm not saying that because, oh, I've known this since I graduated cosmetology school. No, I had hidradenitis. My body deals with hidradenitis suppurativa, and I've been fighting with bald spots in my head for my entire life, and growing it back and it falling out, and growing it back and falling it out because of HS outbreaks on my scalp that have nothing to do with me. I was something that almost my entire father's side of the family have, and doctors don't even understand it, right? And thank God mine is rather mild, but I'm coming from a place of understanding. I get it, but you can't not know something and be an expert in the thing that you don't know at the same time. It doesn't work like that. So I had to humble myself in understanding that, yes, I went to cosmetology school, but just because I went to cosmetology school does not mean that I understand all of the different scalp diseases and scalp disorders and hair shaft disorders and exactly how to treat them. So then I learned I don't really want to go to school to be a dermatologist, but what else can I do? And that's why I became a trichologist. But then I found out that a trichologist, girl, it takes 5 minutes to become a trichologist. So then I went to something else, right? And dove into herbalism. And when I dove into herbalism, and then still having my other degrees and certifications that I was studying within the science field for, it really made it so I was able to piece things together holistically, and you understand that all things work together. So what you intake into the gut, right, what you're drinking, what you're eating, the people that you are surrounding yourself with, what you're taking in through your ear gates, what you're watching on TV, because the people that you're around and the things that you're watching, the energy that you surround, it becomes a stressor, and any form of stress sends a signal to your body to release cortisol. And when the body releases cortisol is the protein destroyer. It destroys the hair's follicle. And it also tells the body to release a whole bunch of oil. It's your fight or flight signaler. So that's another part of your holistic health. Being careful of the things that you're watching, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, the things that you're eating, and then what are you putting on your hair? How are you treating the body? Because there's no way that you can truly treat your hair the proper way if you don't understand it. So that's why I make the type of content that I make, explaining the human body to you so you can understand the complexity of your body, right? How can you treat something that you don't understand? That's like getting into a relationship and expecting somebody to know exactly how to love you, but they don't know nothing about you. They don't know your favorite color. They don't know nothing about you. Nothing. They don't know what you're allergic to. They just make you food. They just do whatever. These are things that I really want y'all to understand. And that's the perspective that I'm coming from when I'm making videos. I'm never coming from a perspective of me versus them. No, just understanding why you do certain things. And as you can see on, like, with her hair, just in my opinion, her hair was thriving, because I remember where we started, and I remember that her hair was able to hold on to a curl, but not like this. It wasn't this thick, it wasn't this dense, it was a lot more see-through, which is why she did feel way more comfortable wearing hair extensions. But now we do not have that issue, and in my opinion, her hair extensions look good. They did look really good, but so does her real hair. This is her. Boo. She don't have no tracks. Even if she did, it wouldn't be a problem. But when you were wearing hair extensions is not always something to cover up the way that you feel about yourself. Wearing hair extensions is not always a way to hide or you're not confident. No, sometimes it is a way for you to combat certain issues. It could be a way to give your hair a break while it heals. Just like if you injure a different part of your body, you're going to need crutches so you'll be able to walk until the body heals, right? She didn't want to keep the curls like really, really big. I know that a lot of y'all get mad when I when I comb out curls and stuff like that, but it's not my fault. She was paying for this. Okay, so the reason that I made the curls so tight is because I just want her silk press to last, because she does have a high sebum level. So before a full 2 weeks gets there, her hair is going to be oily again. So this is why I always go ahead and put like curls in it, so that way she has a little bit more body and a little bit more volume to play with as she moves throughout the week, you know. So I really, really hope that this video made sense. I really hope that it put things in perspective for you. Again, I'm not like, oh, extensions are bad, tap-ins are bad, and micro links are bad. No, that's not what I'm saying. But there are some hair extensions that you can do yourself, absolutely. But there are certain hair extensions that you need to go to a professional for. And it's the same thing with hair extensions that it is for color. It's a commitment. Those type of extensions are a commitment. If you're a person that can put hair extensions in and then be like, oh, I'm gonna leave these in for like 3-4 months, you're going to break off your hair. It's not for that. It's a placeholder so you can help your hair to become healthier. So if this video made sense to you in any way, shape, or form, let me know what part made the light bulb go off of you. What part was like, oh my God, I've always been thinking about that, and you finally answered my question. Thank you. Oh my God. In my next video, we are going to talk more about postpartum hair loss and thinning. We're also going to talk more about dandruff, scalp psoriasis, and seborrheic dermatitis. So make sure that all of your post notifications are on, because I'm not doing live. I'm not doing one-on-one consultations right now. I just can't at this time. but I am going to do like one free mass consultation because everybody literally has the same questions. Every consultation is exactly the same. I swear it is. So instead of booking one-on-one consultations, we're gonna have one big one. So make sure again that your post notifications are on, so that way you will get that notification whenever I do go live. I don't want to lie to you and give you a date, because ever since I've been retired from doing hair, it's like my soul is against sticking to a date if I don't got to. So I don't want to give y'all a date, but let me know what you think about her hair in the comments. And thank you for sticking around and chatting with me on this visual simple podcast. That's what I think I'm gonna call it. The simple visuals. Simple visual podcast. I don't know. Something. Because I really like these voiceover types, and I am so in love with how thick and full her hair looks. Like, oh my god, boo, I hope that you're doing amazing now. I haven't seen you in years, but I really hope that your hair is even thicker than this. Hair extensions are amazing if you wear them right and if you follow the directions. So again, let me know your favorite part. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, write a comment, and do not forget to subscribe. I love you so much. Thank you for hearing me.